Welcome to the website of Unity Spiritual Enrichment Center. Whether this is your first time to visit with us here, or if you have been here several times, we welcome you and thank you for being with us. You're probably wanting to know what Unity teaches, or maybe you've been reading the Unity teachings and you already know a lot about the Unity teachings. If you're someone who is in Unity and you've been studying Unity for a while, I know for myself, going over the 5 basic principles that Unity teaches, the 5 core values, are always a wonderful thing in my life. It just rekindles that awareness and makes it even easier to use those principles in my life. So I trust that will be true for you today as well. And the first principle of Unity is that God is not only good, but God is absolute good. There is no place in the nature of God for anything other than good. That presence is absolute good. And that presence is everywhere equally present. God created and God indwells the creation. And so we don't have to go to one place to seek God or to find God or to communicate with God, for God indwells all that is. And God indwells each and every one of us. And God, being absolute good, desires only good for you and for me and for all people and all things. Now, God created you and me and all individuals in the image and after the likeness that is God. There is at the very core of our being that which we truly are. And that which we truly are is what God breathed into us. God breathed his own nature into us. We are spirit. And we too, at that core, at that inner place, are absolute good. Even in those times when we might be acting out or doing something that isn't so good in the outer, there still is a place in us. There is a place in all people, whether they know it or not, even if they reject it, even as I said before, they're acting in a way that isn't good in the outer. There is always that place within the individual that is good, because they're made in the image of God and God breathed that into them. That's why we can all be healed. That's why people can be rehabilitated. That's why you and I can grow spiritually. Because always there is that core in us that's seeking more of itself or more of God. So the very essence of you and me is inherently good as well. Now, human beings have been given a wonderful power. And that power is the power of dominion. It was given in the very beginning of time when humanity was created. The power of dominion. And it's only dominion over yourself. Dominion over your own thoughts. And thereby also dominion over your own feelings. Dominion to choose what you want to think about. Dominion to check your feelings, and when they're not in alignment with what you would desire, to work with that in an inner way, to bring your feelings into a place that will enhance the good that is in your life. So through your dominion, you create or co-create with God your life. You have choice. Always you have a choice. And so it's good for us every day from time to time to kind of take stock of what we're thinking or how we're feeling. If it's a bit off, especially if we've drifted into a negative vein, we want to bring ourselves back to that center of good, that core of spirituality, and align ourselves with that presence and that power in order that we might express more good in our own lives and also be a healing and a beneficial presence to other people. You know, when we are in a state of harmony in our own lives, we really don't have to say anything to bless another person. We all know there have been times when we've simply walked into a room and been aware of someone and we thought, wow, what a wonderful sense of peace that person has, or what a wonderful sense of love that individual has. And whatever it is that we are feeling strong in, if we're really focused in that center of love and peace and inner joy, as we walk into a room, we take that with us. As we walk through a department store, we take that with us. And while people may not know exactly who it's coming from, and that doesn't matter anyway, does it? As long as people are being blessed, some people will know who it's coming from because they're sensitive to that kind of energy. And again, it doesn't matter. The whole thing that does matter is that you and I are centered in that inner presence and inner power. And when we are, it's blessing us. And when we are blessing others. Now, to get in touch with that inner place and that inner power, we have the activity of prayer. And I remember years ago when I first read the scripture, pray without ceasing. I thought, how in the world can I pray 24 hours a day? Or even, how can I pray every waking hour? I don't see how I could do that. Then I learned that prayer is every thought I think. It's the feelings that I feel. So then I realized it's very easy to pray all of my waking hours. I'm always thinking or feeling or having an energy that I'm aware of moving through me. And so is everybody else. And sometimes we're not aware of it, and we're putting forth sometimes then good energy, or we may not be putting forth good energy. Sometimes it's negative. So we want to realize that we can pray. Prayer is positive. Since prayer is every thought we think, we can send forth positive thoughts and hold positive thoughts within ourselves and pray very positive prayers in that way. Or if without thinking we drift off into negative thinking or negative feeling, we can be praying negatively. And as we do, in time, we'll draw negative kinds of things into our lives. Now, let me make this very, very clear. If you have just had a negative thought go through your mind, maybe you might say, it was a really negative thought. Will that happen in my life? And I want to assure you that no, not necessarily so at all. The thoughts that will turn up in your life as experiences are thoughts that you hold in an ongoing way, and thoughts that you hold with feeling. Because see, that's the metaphysical marriage, thinking and feeling. The scripture says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As we think with feeling, that's what our life becomes. That's who we become. So that's what we express into our world and into other people's world too when we come into contact with them. So praying without ceasing is just those thoughts that we're sending out whatever they may be. Now, one of the ways that we can pray negatively, and we don't often think about it, is through worry. Through worry. And most people, if you ask a group of people, how many of you are good worriers? Most people will raise their hands. You know, they're a good worrier. We used to know a man who would speak to people in groups like this, and he would say to them, that's good that you're a good worrier. Now we just need to turn it to positive things in your life. So if you're tending to worry over something that is limiting you or something that's negative, bring it in for a time of quietness and a time of reflection and a time of just bringing peace around it. And in that time, ask yourself and ask the divine presence, is there something that I can do about this? What is it that I am to do, if anything, about this? Maybe I'm only to get my own sense of peace about it. That's a big thing sometimes to have to do, to find a way to bring about and allow ourselves to be in that deep sense of peace regardless of what's going on out there. So, to find your sense of peace and to let go of worry, to let go of negative or even limited thinking. So we have to kind of monitor our thoughts and our feelings in order to do that. But it pays such high dividends in our lives. Such high dividends in our lives. Because as we walk that positive path, hold those positive thoughts and feelings, we express that kind of thing in our everyday lives. So prayer is a very powerful thing in each of our lives, and it's a very adventurous thing as well, as we know every thought we're holding has the possibility of coming into our lives. Now, all of these things that I have mentioned to you, if we simply know them in our mind, even then, I believe it helps to change our lives a bit. Even if we've read them or just heard them, even if we're just thinking about them and asking ourselves, do I believe that? Or how deeply do I believe that? I think it makes a difference in our lives. But in order for it to make a really profound difference in our lives, we need, and the fifth point in Unity's teaching is, we need to live the truth we know. Live the truth we know. Sometimes people say, what else could I read? What else can I learn? What's another tape that I can listen to so that I can know more? And that's fine and that's wonderful, but do you know that most people, many people, don't need to read another book right now? They don't need to listen to another tape right now. If they were living to the very best of their ability, the truth that they know this very minute, it would change their lives significantly. So ask yourself, what is the truth that I know? Do I know that God is good? And God is the one presence and the one power that indwells me? Do I know that I am made in the image and after the likeness of God, and that I am good and it's God's desire to bless me? And if I can hold on to that and really live that every day, I can significantly change my life. And if I know my power of prayer, and if I know that I can do it in an easy way, it doesn't always have to be serious. It's just thinking about wonderful thoughts and wonderful things we'd like to become, wonderful things that we'd like to do or have. That's a wonderful feeling and a wonderful way to be driving down the road and thinking about those things, or going about your day and letting those thoughts cross your mind. So as we begin to live the truth we know, then we begin to really express it into our lives, and we become a healing and a beneficial presence in the life of every person we touch. I bless you today for tuning in here with us and listening to this time of sharing, and we look forward to having you come back website many times over again. God bless you. God bless your day.